Welcome back to the Don't Make This Weird podcast. I'm your host. I was jamming in the studio, totally got busted on camera. Tony, and always with me is the ever effervescent purple person that has exquisite taste in headwear. Heather.
I do. Thank you. Hey, how's it going over there in the studio? Miss you guys.
Oh my God, the studio is not the same. There's so much room for activities, though. Holy shit sauce, man.
I know I haven't seen it since the remodeling and everything. I'm so glad that I will get surprised from that because you have not shared any of the pictures.
No, I want it to be a surprise. Like, can we build bunk beds? Like, is that a thing? Can we?
Trundle beds are the new things.
Why did you let us build bunk beds? It was a bad idea.
So much room for activities. You're right.
You want to go in the garage and do karate?
So yeah, what a crazy thing that we are still able to do the podcast live. It is very cool. So glad that we're able to do this. And we've got lots of stuff to talk about this week.
Holy shit, we've got so much stuff to talk about. Give me a second. Let me make sure Twitch is working and the sound is coming through. So talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, shoot. I just put down the YouTube, so I can't see. I'm trying to put the links up for everybody. Well, at least one link here.
We are coming through loud and clear on Twitch. So, yeah, guys, we are on YouTube Live, and we are also on Twitch. So if you're out on the social medias, in fact, I'm going to share this on Facebook right now on my page. Hopefully, it'll pop up because I don't know what's been going on with Facebook. It's been stupid lately. Every time I share something from Twitch or YouTube, it's there. I go to tag people in it, and then it's gone. So
just completely wiped off.
Yep.
I got a couple things on YouTube in the chat there. Shelby says hi, and Candy Ray says hello, family.
What?
Hey, Shelby. Hey, Candy.
Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Glad you guys are joining. Share. Get people over here to talk with us tonight so we can have a conversation.
Yeah, we
want to change up the subject.
That's right. We're kicking ass on Twitch, which is freaking awesome because there's so much cool stuff going on. We are hitting some pretty cool milestones, so we can actually partner with Twitch. So yeah, keep viewing, keep commenting in the chat. You know, share with on social media. Help us get those numbers up there, guys. Because I mean, if you want to help us, if you like what we're doing, support us. Go watch what it is that we're doing. I mean, we were able to, before we get into our weeks, we were able to do what? 5 different streams between last week, Survivor Girl, and then we did 2 specialty streams, and then now obviously we're doing tonight's show.
Yep, it's been pretty cool. We've been pretty busy with that kind of stuff. One of the things that me and Adam were joking about was I was going to let him do my makeup live on one of the streams because if anybody who knows Adam knows that he is hunting and fishing and not about the makeup, so I think that would be hilarious.
I so want to see that.
I think it's going to happen, I think, this week because we are hunkered down still at home together and still loving each other very much, not ready to kick anybody off of our island. So we're doing pretty good. So I figured, why not throw a little bit of something crazy in there?
Right. So you're not the sole survivor.
Right. You know, why not? Why not just throw caution to the wind?
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
The funniest thing about that is we were watching videos about making lures and stuff for fishing, which is something that we do want to do.
Yeah.
And on there, one of the challenges that the guy did was making lures at home with his wife's makeup. And I was watching him and kind of crying a little bit. I am not like huge with makeup. Don't get me wrong. Like I like putting it on every now and then to make myself feel good.
Yeah.
But I was watching him like scrape out like the really expensive makeup. And I'm going, oh my God, if you ever did that to me, sir, if you ever did that, you know, it's like, okay, dollar store stuff, okay. But when we start getting into the really expensive stuff like Estee Lauder and whatnot.
Yeah, that shit's not cheap.
It is not.
It is not. I have 2 daughters and one's not at home anymore because obviously she's grown up and moved on.
Right.
But we would go to like the Bertrand outlet malls, and she'd be like, "Dad, buy me this," and I'd look at like I don't know a lipstick or a blush or some shit like that, and it's like $50,
Oh yeah,
and I'm like,
easily.
"Are you fucking kidding me?
Which
50
is
bucks?
fun.
Why the fuck
Which
would I
is
do that?"
which is so funny because here we are is for Christmas time. Okay, so Adam and I talked about this a little bit before. Adam and I went to over to Saginaw, and he dropped me off at a store, and I went and looked around while he went to different stores to pick up some last minute shopping stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the places I told him that I liked was Alta Beauty, because they have somebody there that can help with trying to help find the makeup that like if I said, oh, I want this kind,
Right. Right.
they could actually help him to find what I was looking for. Well, it was funny because what was it, last week or the week before, we decided that we were going to set the tent up here in the living room and do like a camping night, a couple nights or whatever, which was a lot of fun. I
Nice.
recommend that if you guys can do that, just to kind of do something different at home. And we went out to go look for the tent in my Malibu, which we don't really drive much because it's really sad and pitiful, and falling apart. So we're looking in the trunk, and he hid three of my Christmas presents so well that we found them. So
In the trunk of the
it,
Malibu.
yeah, yep. And one of the things was this like rose quartz like face massage roller thing.
Yeah.
And he had actually got that at Ulta Beauty, and he had went in and he was like, "It smells funny in here." So, so that was his experience, and that's why I think it would be hilarious to let him do my makeup. I think it would just be funny.
Oh God, I'm so gonna be line antagonizing all of that I can.
I believe it. Yeah, yeah. And Jeff's joining in on YouTube. He says, "Hi all, hi all. Are we going to stuck in quarantine till April 30th? I want to live." Um, yeah, yeah, but we're not gonna. Okay, so I'll say the last I heard was yes. Michigan is still in a stay-at-home quarantine till the 30th, and we're not going to talk a whole lot about that tonight. Though we're trying to change up the subject because it's in our faces 24/7, and we want to have some fun here tonight. So if you guys have some questions or you want to talk about some other stuff, something funny that you guys have done, or something good that you guys have been doing, please feel free to share.
Well, that's actually a
Because
really good
yeah.
transition to how was your week? I mean, aside
Oh,
from contemplating career suicide by letting Adam do your makeup live.
I think it's great. I think it's gonna be fun. I just gotta get
I'm looking
him on
forward
here.
to it. Seriously, I am. Like
He,
this stuff writes itself.
oh
I'm
yeah,
not even that's comedy gold.
yeah. Kind of like the whole idea of having me like do a cooking show because I'm cra- crazy. So I thought about that too while I'm at home. I don't know, just ideas along with were you asking me how my week's going, or did you want to go first?
No, I was asking you. On one side note, it's funny that you say the cooking show because I just joined a Facebook group that says "crap I cooked while in
Mm,
quarantine."
I'm on there too.
There's
I
such
love it.
great recipes. I'm like, damn, I gotta try these.
Well, it's gonna make me gain 50 million pounds because I keep seeing everybody posting their food, and I'm like, I can make that with what I got at home.
And I love food porn. So any of our
Yeah.
listeners out there, please send me food porn because I will. Okay, here's the thing: send Heather all the cheesecake food porn. Send me all the rest.
Right.
So
That's great. Well, if it tells you anything how my week's going, I'm wearing a wig and a hat because I've been pulling my hair out. That's not true. I just wanted to
wow,
because
you're really gonna make a hair joke to a bald guy? Thanks,
it's
Heather.
not true. Actually, I really love this purple wig, and I just wanted to try something different because you know what? Life is short, and I was just like, I'm doing it. I'm on that jumping wave right now. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go out, and if I'm gonna wear a tutu when I go out to get my groceries, I don't give a crap. That's what I'm doing.
Well, yeah, and it's great because you're kind of short and feisty. Because we
Kinda.
we were talking about some of the stuff before the show and just kind of how fed up we are with the status quo
Yeah.
and how through the course of our weeks it didn't involve any of that status quo.
Hmm. Well, and we're gonna get into that too. So I guess we were talking about how the weeks went, and then we can jump into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So I have been conversations with my dad via FaceTime. It's been cool keeping up with him, and I'm happy to see his face. And it's sad that we didn't do that much before that. So I'm glad that we are kind of doing that now. And jumped on and I read a story for the kids on Virus Spirit 2020,
Right.
and that's a cool Facebook page that you guys can jump on. If you have kids at home, there's all kinds of projects and different things to do, spirit days and all kinds of fun stuff like that. I personally don't have kids, but well, not at home anyway. But I was invited to the group, which I'm really glad that I was, because like I said, I got to read a story. I read a Finding Nemo story on there the other day, and then I did some singing on there, and I did some singing on my own page, which is something I haven't done in a long time. Since weight loss surgery, I really haven't done much singing, like recording or anything. So it was really cool to kind of go back and listen to, because it has changed a lot since that. And I've gotten more confidence too. I think that's the main thing I want to go with, is my confidence level has definitely changed. So yeah, that's been fun. I've been awesome, or it's been awesome. I've been awesome. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Well, you
Um,
have.
it,
Just throwing it out there. You have been
oh, well,
awesome.
thank
So.
you. I thank you for sharing that too. Like, I had posted up there, I did a coffee talk one day on my own page and then on Survivor Girl.
Right.
Just trying to do something to help boost the morale, because right now it's there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and we were going to kind of touch a little base on that. Not necessarily going into the whole everything that's going on, but a couple different things. But the week has been really, it's been good. It's been good. There's been some emotional times. Um, Stone Cottage Farm and their pictures of the kids that are being born and all that has helped out tremendously.
Holy
Um,
shit! There's so many kids being born right now.
There is. The goats are so freaking cute, and I'm loving the videos because they hop around like little crazy things with just like they're all brand new and everything's exciting to them, and it's just like, man, that speaks to me right now.
Right.
So there's that, and then I've been reading. I've been doing this devotional book thing that I got from my mom, and right now it's kind of talking about authentic self. And part of the authentic self thing is finding out my style. And that's one of the things on there each day, is kind of going through the closet, which kind of works with everything that's going on right now. Going through the closet and getting rid of clothes that just don't fit your style anymore, or they're too big or whatnot. So that's been kind of cool too. And I've been thinking about different things that I want to try out style wise. So
Narnia, Narnia, Narnia.
right. So I mean, it kind of all ties in there. And artistically, I've just been enjoying that. I've been loving doing the art stuff.
That's great.
So
That's so
so
awesome.
yeah. So positive stuff. There's been moments. There's been moments that I've had the emotions rear their ugly head, and I cry it out and get through it the best I can. And if I'm missing somebody, I'll message them and tell them, hey, I miss you. I haven't been talking a whole lot to a lot of people, and that's just part of me working my process right now through everything to keep myself and my mind straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much how this week's been. It's actually been pretty good, and I'm continuing to just keep that positivity going, because what else do I have right now? I don't want to get down, or excuse me, get depressed or anything. So I'm trying my best to keep up with doing the things that make me happy. And in the process, if I can make somebody else happy by doing like painting in the window or whatever else, I'm gonna do that. So that's part of my journey for this week and next week and however many weeks we're at home.
That's
So,
great. That's so
but
great.
before we get into your week, my dad is joining in. He says, hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Just like that. So, hey guys, I want to put a little challenge up here. You got people on Twitch. I got people over here on YouTube. If you're here, join in, say hello, give us something to talk about. I want to see who has more comments, whether it's on Twitch or if it's on YouTube.
Yeah, come
Let's
on,
do it.
guys. You hear that? She just dropped the gauntlet. The gauntlet.
Gauntlet.
Wow. I can't even talk. See, that's why they're not
Let's do it.
responding on Twitch, because he can't talk. But no, she
Well,
just
yeah.
dropped the gauntlet. Come on, guys, on Twitch. Don't let me lose. Don't let me lose to YouTube. Come on, show me some love, guys.
So with that being said, how has your week been? Let's talk about that.
Holy shit! Like it's been crazy because I finally got my garden in, and I was actually going to. Here, let me pull up what we got going on here. Hey, there's a full picture of me now. Wow, that's scary. I need to shave.
I'm
Ugh,
so behind and I
good lord.
can't. Oh, there you are. There you go. Now I see you.
Okay, so this is what did this week with my lovely assistant. Um, did my garden. I don't know if you can see that, which is the. Oh, there we go. Okay, so for any of our viewing audience, you can see what we've done. So that's kind of my box gardens that I've done with the the three by the retaining wall, and then the rest of them are out there. So I got asparagus, radishes, two types of radishes actually. Transplanted my red onions because my red onions came up from last year.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I had a bunch of onions that I got from Ace Hardware because they were just giving them away. They're like, "Here, take them. We don't want them." So I
Oh, wow.
planted some of those, and then the dead onions I threw in with the rose bush to add as fertilizer. And I don't know
Nice.
if you can see, where's it at? Right, that one right there. If you guys can see that where it says zucchinis.
Oh, yes.
So there's that. Obviously, planted the marigolds. Two types of bell peppers. The new box, actually, I built two new boxes this year with spinach and carrots, and then I have to get dirt for the other one. And then in the big pentagon,
Yeah.
I have peas, peppers, beans, strawberries, purple oregano, and more peas. And
Nice.
then in the other one, I have two types of basil, oregano, possibly. I can't remember what I planted. And then obviously the lavender chives and the mint. Plus, I still have sage. And for the rest of those gardening fanatics, I have an assortment of marigolds, which critters do not like. So I still have to
Marigolds,
plant.
yeah.
I still have to plant those. So that's what I got done with that, and just been doing a lot of really cool streaming. We did some songwriting stuff uh,
Yeah, it was
with,
fun.
with you and knocking off some of the rust there. Did some songwriting stuff with Jeremy. Obviously, we did Survivor Girl, which if you guys missed that episode, you can go back and listen to it after you finish listening to our show. Um, what else did I do? Oh yeah, I'm still working on my online courses for Udemia. It's so weird trying to get the right angle so people can see what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. Oh,
But
there's all kinds of free ones on there too. You were talking about that before, and I went on and actually was looking at those today.
well, yeah, I mean, crap you cooked in quarantine, stuff I learned in quarantine. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
holy shit! I'm ever since I downsized some of the books, and my heart still slightly breaks because I'm such a nerd that I got rid of a lot of the books that I read and enjoyed, but now I passed them on to somebody else. But finding some of the other cool books, and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't read this one in a minute. So, like, I literally have a book on the shelf, which you'll probably laugh. It says "Living Successfully with Screwed Up People."
That's funny.
So
That's
yeah,
pretty
I
good.
mean, it's been pretty crazy with all the stuff that we're doing, and actually planning meals. Like, oh my god, uh, caloric intake, calorie intake, or however you want to put that together. I've been doing something a little different. I've literally
Yeah.
been doing a smoothie in the morning, and then maybe a small snack to tide me over, and then a meal for dinner, and that's that. That's all I have to eat all day.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I know you and I were talking about how, oh yeah, you go to the fridge, I can eat this, or go to the countertop, I can eat this, and it's
That's
like,
so crazy.
no,
Like, no, you
stop board
can't
eating,
stop.
quit, just stop. Go work out. Go do some push-ups. Go do something and stand in front of the refrigerator because it's not
Remind
going to
me.
end well.
Remind me of that when we get to that point, because I have something cool I want to talk about that
Okay. Yeah.
when you're ready.
But no, it's been kind of crazy. I started organizing my vintage Magic cards,
Nice.
which has been insane because how I'm not really one for nostalgia, but like Magic is just it's always held a special place in my heart because it's like what 1993 math and stuff. It's like 27
Mm,
years old, I think.
yeah.
And like I remember this stuff when it came out and played this stuff when it came out. Nobody was like, "Hey, you want to go play some Magic?" And it's like, "Hey, I found this new card game." So,
I mean, it was big when we were in school. Kids would play it at lunchtime and whatnot. I was like, what kind of nerd shit is that?
and
And now I
now
play
you
it.
are a person that plays it. But no, it was
Hmm.
really cool because I'm going through a lot of the old vintage cards. And each one of these are like negative pennies where they're worth nothing. But looking at some of these old cards that I remember building decks and playing with, and I'm going, God, I love the art on this shit.
Some
It's
of that
just
stuff is
so
super
cool.
cool.
And like
I have
the artists that have done some of these most incredible art on these cards, every card that they put out was always just incredible. And you're going, wow, what is this person doing now?
that is a really good question. I did have a question for you because you mentioned vintage,
Hmm.
and Adam and I had this conversation. Vintage and classic. What are the standards on that? Like, I can't remember. I think I am classic and he is vintage, but I'm not sure.
I think it's after 10 years,
Oh,
you're considered classic. And I think
hmm,
it's after 25 years, you're considered vintage.
fuck.
I can't remember.
Well, there goes
Anybody
that.
that's listening in our chat, clarify that for me. Because here's the thing: I look at it like the classic car stuff. Because my
Mm,
dad was huge into classic cars, and I never understood it because I'm mechanically like "Bricketeer." So yeah, I always tried to understand, and I love going to like the car shows and stuff because like some of these cars were just like, "How you
well,
doing?"
they were made so much better than what they are now.
Well, yeah, and see, here's the thing though: is you look at the safety ratings, so you have to really gauge that. Were they made better? Uh, if you got into a head-on collision, you're probably pulling your spine out of the back seat. Now,
Mm,
if you get into a head-on collision, the whole car falls apart, and you're perfectly fine with maybe a couple of seatbelt strawberries.
I guess. I mean, depends. It just seems like like your bumper falls off so much easier, all that fun stuff. It's like,
Well, it's
hmm,
meant to take most of the impact, so you
gotcha.
don't.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. All right, you win that round.
Ding.
Ding.
But no,
Yeah.
it's been a really cool week, and a lot of the stuff that we had talked about, which we'll get into here in a minute, uh, is I've been going back to the woodshed, so to speak,
Hmm.
and really focus on what I'm putting in my head because there's been a couple of days where, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I straight up lost my shit, not because of what's going on, but because I have anxiety and panic attacks. And that's an
Right.
everyday adventure with me where it's like I wake up and go, huh, I wonder
Hmm.
what's going to go on. So you're doing your morning routine, brushing your teeth, taking a piss, whatever it is. And then go whammy! And you're going,
Hmm.
oh, God.
Just out of nowhere. It's
Yeah.
fun, ain't it?
Yeah, for no reason other than, oh, you're just standing there taking a piss or brushing your teeth or whatever your morning routine is. And you're just
Hmm.
blindsided by it. So trying to stay out of my own head and trying to stay engaged in something outside of my own head
Yeah.
has been quite a challenge. But,
Yeah.
I'm doing it with a certain degree of success. Some days better than others.
Yeah, well, and I think too, like right now, it is a great thing if you're able to have some kind of sense of normalcy, some kind of plan put in place for you to continue to keep doing stuff that your body needs, that that will help you to keep your or boost your immune system and all that stuff. And I think we've gotten a little bit sidetracked on that part of it. Is when so a lot of there's a lot of worry and stuff that just goes into what the full scale is of everything, but we are putting aside not taking care of ourselves and not taking care of our bodies and stuff. We're more worried about being at home and not being at work and not making the money and not all this stuff. And I think it's really, really important to be able to get the water in that we're needing, to get the exercise that we're needing, to get the fresh air that we're needing still. So and I'm not talking down on anybody or anything. It's just it's been a rough time for a whole bunch of people. So for us here at home, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was Adam set up a little circuit workout gym for us in our downstairs, and that helped out a lot because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to mental health, that is another key for me, especially,
Yeah.
is being able to get exercise and him doing that workout with me and putting it up to where it was like circuit training was just awesome. And when the weather was nice the other day, back when it was 70 and not snowing, um,
Yeah.
we,
What the hell is that guy going? It's really?
yeah, yeah. Before when it was 70 out, we got a chance to go for a walk, and I was able to do some running, like a half a mile of running, which is something that I have not done. I don't even think I could make it when I was like in my teenage years.
Right.
At school when they'd have you go run the track, it was like, yeah, I'm dying, just like 3 feet in, and that's about it.
I'm gonna lean
You
over
know,
this what the fuck do you call those things? The things you jump over.
the
The
pole vault, or yeah, I know what you're talking about.
fuck. What are they called?
I can't think of what you're. I know what you're
The
talking about.
hurdles. The
The
hurdles.
hurdle. There you
Yeah.
go. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so that was interesting to be able to actually go for a run. Like I think I found something new that I really love, even though I felt like I was gonna die. But
Well,
less though than I used to.
I
So
think of that movie being that you're talking about that is keeping your body physically fit. I look at that movie I Am Legend, where he'd
hmm
wake up and he would do his routine, whether it was watching old news clips or whatever it was, talking to his dog, working out on the treadmill, doing all that stuff. I mean, that's the thing is not to put too fine of a point on all this crap that's going on, but when you are forced to be in isolation, you've got to stay sharp. And the
hmm
only way you're going to do that is by generally physically engaging in something that's going to cause healthy stress.
Right, for sure. For sure. And like you had mentioned, doing classes or whatever, or any of that stuff, that's important as well. If something to think about, that things are going to be definitely different after everything is said and done. And before I had talked about me and you before the show, I was talking about like trauma and stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
where I'm no stranger to that after all the stuff that been through. Um, is after everything is said and done, like you have to deal with that trauma afterward, And for one of the things that I would like, people to kind of think about and that I've been kind of thinking about was, okay, when this is all said and done, there's going to be definitely all kinds of different opportunities for different jobs or different, fields of work or whatever.
right.
And I'm trying to think about, what is it that I'm meant to do after all of this? Because beforehand, I was doing cleaning, and I worked at Bronner's and stuff, which I absolutely love Bronner's. And as long as they open back up, I will still have a job there. However, I'm a big advocate for mental health awareness, and that's kind of one of my passions,
Yeah.
But looking into how much it would take me to become a counselor or whatever, it's like a 4-year program. And let's just face it, I'm horrible at math, and for me that it's very stressful for something like that. So I'm trying to look into different things that I can do to help out, with the mental awareness. And I got the mental first aid certificate. But I feel like there's more that I could do in that aspect, and I encourage other people to look in to see what can they do to help. Not just now, but when everything kind of comes back to what is normal. I just think that's important. That's something that we should be looking at as well.
Well, and to add on what you were talking about, I was doing some math earlier today, and of course, 1 + 1 = 5 because I suck at math too. But no, I mean, I've been consciously, on purpose, aggressively changing up my diet
Hmm.
and doing stuff to boost my immune system, to boost my metabolism, to do all these things um, for the past year and 4 months. And I got to say, I feel fucking incredible before any of all this stuff happened. And I went, well, wait a minute. How is it that, going from reading nutrition labels to if it doesn't have a nutrition label because it's fresh, it's
Hmm.
probably good for your body.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I went, holy shit, why didn't I realize that before? Because that's something that like everybody knows that's a personal trainer or a person that's a body sculptor or a bodybuilder or uh, any of these things that involve with eating clean and healthy. And I specify that of if you're adding preservatives in your diet,
Hmm.
it's probably not a good thing. So if you're eating, grass-fed beef, which is incredible, like it
Hmm.
tastes amazing. Like you have to sample it. Support local, by the way.
Right.
But growing your own garden. I mean, good lord, there's so many cool things you can do with potted plants that you can. What was it? This one guy on YouTube was talking about producing 50 pounds of food a week
Wow.
just with potted plants in your house.
And you can look into ways to do hydroponic
Right.
growing as
Oh yeah.
well.
Yeah.
There's
There's
different systems for that, for like in the home, like if you have an apartment or whatever, like you can learn how to do that kind of stuff too for your regular vegetables and your herbs and all that kind of stuff, which is really incredible. And that's another thing that I've kind of been wanting to look into is herbalism and different stuff like that.
well, and listening to the podcast American Glutton with Ethan Suplee,
Oh
that
yeah.
dude has so many cool guests on, and they're constantly talking about how to take control of your health, about
Hmm.
how you're eating, what your workout routine is. The checkup from the neck up, what's your mental and emotional status? Where are you at with that? And really grinding that down to a fine point to go, okay, who's responsible for my longevity and my livelihood? Oh, yeah,
Hmm.
that's right. The person in the mirror. So you
Yep.
have no excuse when you're sitting at the McDonald's drive through at midnight because you're eating food that is zero nourishment, has zero sustainability in your body. And not only that, you're completely overweight and out of shape, and your heart's going to explode out of your chest because you're eating nothing but preservatives.
Right. And I think though, as you know, United States as our nation or whatever, it's something that is just very common to be able to go and do and all that. So I kind of feel like with everything kind of more of at a halt right now, like we should look into that stuff. We should look into how we feel differently from all of the cooking that's
Right.
happening at home, all the different things that we're doing right now. Because after this is all we're in the clear or whatever, I mean, think about it. Do you want to go back to going and getting all the fast food, or are you really enjoying doing your meals at home? I think this kind of stuff right now is very eye opening, you know. And I think if we were to talk with a nutritionist or have a nutritionist on the show right now,
Yeah.
they would talk about how that's resetting our bodies.
Hannah, where are you at? We miss you.
It is though. It's like it really feels like that is kind of where we're at. We're like resetting our bodies. We're resetting Mother Nature and all that stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that's happening that where we're in our little timeout. Sorry, I'm not very political with all this stuff right now because it wears on you. There's all kinds of
No,
different
you're
feelings
good.
that I have. But I kind of feel that though, like we're having a chance to reset our bodies right now.
Well, and that's the thing is from a health conscious standpoint, I think it's even more important now because we live in one of the best times in history. I mean,
Hmm.
go do the due diligence and look at all the health issues that they've dealt with in the past, and somehow we managed to survive just fine. Yet,
Yeah.
like you said, it's time to do a reset in a healthy manner before your
Mhm.
body does a hard reset and goes, you don't have a fucking choice.
Yeah. And it can happen. It can happen so quickly before we even know it, and it's so far out of our hands when that happens. So I guess I encourage people right now to kind of look at the situation that we're in and try to find the best ways that we can to be positive about what's happening. I mean, some of us that are at home right now are at home with our loved ones and are
Right.
able to spend more time and learn more about them, or like I said, connecting and doing the Facebook Messenger and whatever, and connecting more with some of these people that we don't normally do on a regular basis. Like that's something that we probably on a normal day would take for granted. And I'm trying my best to look at it differently because, there's a lot of different stuff that I see people doing that it's like, oh wow, like would we have been doing that if we would not have been where we're at right now, you know? But and another thing too, like I was talking about being a huge mental health advocate, is I wanted to mention, I was on the Unknown Artist, his stream the other day, his live stream.
Shout out
They
to
were,
Dustin.
yeah, shout out to Unknown Artist. He was doing he was restreaming Jack, what was his name?
Septiceye.
Septicai's stream to help raise money for what's going on with the COVID. And he did like a 12-hour stream, and Unknown Artist was also like streaming him along with all of his crew. And I was actually able to talk on there, and I did a little bit of a talk about the mental health awareness stuff. And
Yeah.
I did some research and got some numbers, and I kind of want to put them out here for you guys. I've talked about it on Survivor Girl as well, and that was like my last episode last Sunday. So if you guys are wanting to go ahead and check that out, it's only an hour show, so that is archived as well. But one of the things that I've seen a lot of people that are at home by themselves right now are dealing with the being alone, the feelings of all of that, the mental health issues with that, and dealing with everything that's going on. And so it's not, sometimes it's not even the people that are by themselves. As human beings, we're dealing with all of this kind of trauma, and whether you're alone or you're not alone or you're with a whole bunch of people, and that's causing issues as well. It just depends. I want everybody to be safe and focus on their mental health and their well-being at this time as well.
Right.
So one of the things that I wanted to put out there was I did contact the disaster distress helpline, and I contacted them beforehand because I wanted to make sure that they were legit and that it would help people who needed to get in contact, because there are live people that you can talk to. And the helpline to call is 1-800-985-5990. That's 1-800-985-5990. And there is another number that you can call. That's 1-800-846-8517. That's 1-800-846-8517. Or if you need to actually, if you prefer to text somebody, you can text with somebody. And to do that, you would text talk with us all together, all the word together, to 66746. That's talk with us to 66746. So that way you're able to actually text with somebody as well. And that will help out if you are needing to talk with somebody, if you are feeling the fear, the pressure, alone, or whatever it is, you're able to get in contact with somebody, because I'd rather see somebody connect with somebody instead of not connecting, and we start seeing more things that are happening that are bad, losing people to suicide and whatnot. So I hope that if you guys are in need of that, to please contact and talk to somebody.
And we'll share that information on our page on Facebook because all of our social media stuff is in the description. So if you
Hmm.
go to the description right down below, you'll be able to see all of the information. Yep, right down there. On YouTube and on Twitch, you can go through and follow us over there because we've got all of our um, social media stuff up too with Facebook and YouTube. So you can follow
Yeah.
all of us on that to where we'll put this stuff on our page. So if you're somebody that's having a little bit of a minute, all right, cool. Go ahead and call one of these numbers, and hopefully somebody will get you the help that you need because that's what it's about: getting the help that you need, getting the
Mhm.
checkup from the neck up because all of this is bigger than us. And
Absolutely.
if we work together, even when stuff is shitty, it could be shittier, but it's not because we're working together and that's what it's about. Let's
Yeah, yep. I agree with you 100%. Like, we're all in this together. We all may be facing stuff differently right now and feeling different stuff. And like I said, we're not going to go too much into this. I just really wanted to hammer it home about if you are needing help and you need to talk to somebody right now, I'd rather see you go and talk or text somebody that can help you out right now instead of going, oh man, this person that we knew that we loved is gone and it wasn't because of the virus, it was because they took their life or whatever it was that happened. And
right.
I'm like I said, I'm a huge advocate for mental health. And don't feel ashamed if you're feeling that. Please contact and get in touch with somebody so that you're able to get some help. And one thing too, I just seen on YouTube in the chat, Heartland Fellowship Church, or how do you say it? Sorry.
HFTC TV.
There we go. Jeremy's joining us. He says, "Peeps, all this social distancing. I need a hug." Hell yeah!
We
After
need a
this is
hug
all
too,
said and
brother.
done,
Sending you a hug.
I'm telling you, I'm hugging people when this is over.
I am getting all of that. Yeah, I'm just
I'm sending the hugs.
sending the hugs.
Sending the hugs. But I mean, I really wanted to touch base on that part of it too. Like I said, we didn't want to get too much in it because we're trying to talk about the positives and all the good stuff that we can talk about right now. But that is something to stay or to keep in mind, to keep positive about, is if you need to talk to somebody, please talk to them. And those are some numbers that you can contact to get help if you need it. Like I said, our inbox is open as well. We may be goofy, we may make all the dick and fart jokes here or whatever, and don't make this weird, but we are we do feel that if we can help, we will help out.
Well, and remember, our listeners, there's no stupid questions, only stupid people. Yes.
I mean, you're not wrong.
But no,
Just kidding.
seriously, you got a question, ask it. And if you
Yeah.
don't get an answer, keep asking that question. That's the thing is, you get 20 million different answers. It's the questions that change how things happen. You
Well,
know,
and this is another thing too that I've been feeling. I'm tired of seeing all the hate and the meanness, the hurt, all of that stuff. Like literally earlier, and you can make fun of me if you want to, whatever. But I was crying because I'm tired of seeing all the hatefulness. I'm tired of seeing that all the hurt and everybody being, the ones that are being dinks to each other. This is hard for all of us right now. And
absolutely.
that literally brought me to tears because I'm like, I'm tired of seeing this hurt. I'm tired of it. I want to see people keep on linking together to help each other. No, we're not together right now, but we're in this together. And
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
it's really like that's playing something on my mental, is seeing it all over Facebook. Okay, we all have our own opinions. We all feel differently about what's happening. We all are experiencing things differently. Like I said, essential workers are out there. We are at home, some of us. There's all kinds of things, but why be divided about everything? Okay? That's just how I'm feeling about it. I don't want to get too political or into any of that, but seriously though.
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and I mean that comes down to the fact that seriously, stop. There. What was it I said before the show? It's there's people in a lot of the social circles and the social medias come up with a problem for every single solution that you have out
Mhm.
there, and it when you realize that all of this is bigger than you have a responsibility. You have a part to play in what you're doing and contributing in a positive manner. If you're going to
But
contribute hate, yeah, that's going to come right back at you tenfold.
yeah, and we don't need that right now. We don't we don't need that. We don't need it anytime, but we seriously don't need it right now. And I'm sure I sound like such a liberal or whatever you want to call me, but for me, like I feel all kinds of things. Like I feel when people are being dinks to each other, like that hurts. That sucks. I hate seeing it. I hate it. I just do. That's
I
all there is.
completely agree with you.
Yeah, okay, so world peace, that's been a big thing for a long time, and that's nothing new. But that's how I feel. Like, I feel like we could get together more if we could put aside, yes, we all have our own opinions and we all do things differently.
Right.
But when you stop and you think about it, we all put our pants on the same way. We all have different styles, sure, but
Wait, I was supposed to be wearing pants?
oh,
Shit.
gross. Just kidding. I got a couple things though in chat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jeremy, which we said was HFTC TV, which is also This Is My Brain.
This is my
podcast.
brain.
And Jeremy, love you, man. He says, I received that hug, Tony. Truth be told, Chicago is here hanging with me making music, and Matt is heading over for steak tonight. At the
Yeah.
Man Cave. Yeah, baby, yeah. Life is best lived. Hey, where do we hear that from?
Shout out to Chicago and Matt. Brother, eat some steak for me.
Yeah, yeah. And Adam says, hey guys, coming in clear, a little late. My phone was being a PETA. And Jeremy says, hey Adam, that's because you do pish, not phone. LOL. And then Adam said also Heather is kind of quiet.
Yeah, yeah, we're working with the constraints that we have, so.
Right? I guess I just get louder. No, but
No, and I completely agree with you with a lot of the stuff that you said, for the simple fact is that, come on, man. I was listening to Chris Cornell, because I love Chris Cornell. He's hugely inspirational to me. But I was scrolling through a lot of the live stuff that he did. And it was great because I caught his performance on the Howard Stern show of him doing Imagine. Just him and the acoustic guitar. And good God, talk about an honest performance of, you have to be Chris Cornell in order to pull that off. You know, John Lennon, best backup singer ever. Paul McCartney, the only reason why the Beatles went anywhere. However, when you're Chris Cornell, whether you're in front of one of the biggest bands in the 90s / late 80s, Soundgarden, or one of the biggest bands in the late 90s to early 2000s, Audio Slave, are doing your solo stuff. Seriously, Chris Cornell was a total fucking badass.
powerhouse. He was a powerhouse, and that that I'm glad that you brought him up too, because we lost him, wasn't it, to suicide?
Uh, I have my theories, but yeah,
Well,
I
okay,
mean,
but I mean,
it,
what
it
was said was
what it was said was suicide, and that's the thing is, another giant who was very vocal about, if you're having mental and emotional issues, get the help you need. He was an activist for that stuff, because he dealt with it too. He was very open about the anxieties he dealt with. He was very open about the depression that he dealt with, because I think when you are that tortured of a soul and that creative of a soul, you kind of have those caveats together. I mean, look at Mozart. He was a raging alcoholic, but wrote some of the most beautiful music you will ever hear. Look at Bach, Brahms, Beethoven, Chopin, Tchaikovsky, any of these just absolutely brilliant musicians that are here 300 years later and still affecting our everyday music intake.
Oh yeah, and that's another great thing too right now. I'm enjoying seeing all of the artists doing their in-home concerts and different things. Like, it is very, very cool to see all of that happening. I don't know. It's neat to see people doing that and putting together music and stuff, and I'm inspired by a lot of that, and it's incredible to see people putting that together to help people's morale as well.
Well, that's what was so much fun earlier this week when you and I, and then myself and Jeremy, got together and was attempting to write some music, which I think it worked. I don't know. Maybe it got the creative juices flowing. But it was great because we got to see some behind the scenes stuff down at the Man Cave of what Jeremy was working on for the drum booth, which, so jealous. I want to be in there and just belt out some Chris Cornell vocals. But it was great because, he had the bass and we were working on stuff and writing together like we have for, God, years now of writing
Right.
music. But yeah, I mean, being able to share kind of our behind the scene process of what you and I do in the studio, and then obviously what Jeremy and I have done in the studio for years and years on end of going, all right, I got this. What are you feeling? What are you picking up on? Talk to our listening audience about kind of what your process is, and maybe that can spur some of that stuff for them if they're in a rut or something when it comes to writing music,
Mm-hmm.
because it's it's amazing what brings you out of a writer's block and then just flowing with ideas. I mean, I try to play the guitar every day. I don't get around to it because I'm doing other stuff, but it's one of those things that I was asked a question earlier today of what was aside from your children, what is one of the things that changed your life, or you glad you experienced, or whatever it was. I can't remember the specific question, and I thought about it for a minute and went, the blessing and curse of learning how to play the guitar.
Yeah, yeah. I got a couple things over in the YouTube chat, which
YouTube. Come
they're
on,
just
guys,
killing
you're
it
killing me.
tonight.
Get on Twitch.
Adam said, I fish and phone, lol. I fish so much phone should be water, so my phone should be waterproof, lol. And Jeremy said they have cases for that. And then also this comment got retracted, but I think it's funny. He had said, "Have we been in quarantine that long that Heather's got 15 foot of hair? What the fuck? Don't be jealous of my long, luscious locks, Jeremy. Don't be jealous." Nope, I got tired of my hair and I just decided to grow it and color it purple. No, that's not the case.
Lies. All lies. It's fake news.
Yep. Oh, by the way, has it been that long in isolation that Heather grew 15 foot of hair? Yes.
Possibly.
Yes. Yes. Don't be jelly. No, actually, to be honest, this was actually a birthday present. What, last year in Acid Disney Week? But I just decided to try it out and see if I liked it. Now you're harshing on my gig, man.
No wheezing that juice.
Unfortunately, my hair has not been that wonderful since going through cancer and stuff. So I wear a lot of hats and try on wigs and whatnot. And this is like the first time trying it. So I'm just like, you know what? I don't care what people think.
I'm gonna throw this PSA out there because want to make sure everybody's on the same page. Fuck cancer.
Absolutely. Climbing out of isolation on the long locks. Oh, you were funny. I love it. This is great.
That's great. So wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Are you who the hell is that fairy tale chick? Not Hansel and Gretel. Fucking Rapunzel.
Oh, come on. Yeah, there you go.
All I could think it was Tangled, and I'm like, that's not that. No.
Well, I mean,
fuck you, Disney.
Yeah, Disney really hammers it home. Okay,
You know,
they're like, you think that it's gonna be all like happiness and everything. You watch one of those cartoons, no way. They hammer you right in the feels, like not even 5 minutes into a movie. I swear to you.
I'm gonna throw this out there, and I don't give a fuck about the hate that I get. The first 5 minutes of Up was better than the whole series of Twilight. Had more of a romantic connection and nailed you in the feels of fuck you, Disney. You've ruined my childhood.
Up really kicked you right in the damn feels. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We watched the movie Onward last night because it is streaming on Disney now, and that's the one that was just in the theaters, which it was just here in town before everything kind of closed up.
Yeah.
So we watched that last night, and it actually was really, really good. However, it kind of goes along some ways in what kind of we're dealing with right now, in a weird sense.
It's a weird parallel.
It was really, really good though. Like, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
See, I like those movies that kind of, I don't want to say mirror society, but to go back to recently a movie that was out, and if you get the chance to see it, watch it with an open mind. The movie Joker, I thought was incredible. Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I've heard different things about it. I've heard people say that they did not like it at all, like he was the worst Joker. Then I hear this was the best Joker movie. So it is really one of those things. We're always going to have that, I think, divided because of each our own, and we're all different individuals. But I definitely think that, we should give ourselves a chance and find out for ourselves if it's something that we're going to like instead of just going by somebody's,
What
you
here?
know,
Here's the
review.
thing with the whole Joker commentary. Heath Ledger, just because I've always liked him as an actor, will always have a special place in my heart for the Joker role that he played.
Oh, yeah.
But the way that Joaquin Phoenix tackled this role and managed to bring the current commentary that we were dealing with at that point in time, and it wasn't. There were so many more undertones of what was actually being said in that, and that's the thing is when I say watch the movie, watch it with an open mind because
Hmm.
when you see what is actually going on, and we talked about this, and I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to have a fight with dumb people. But when you have the commentaries of mentally unstable people
Hmm.
trying to start shit for the sake of starting shit, and then something else happens, and lo and behold, all of those issues disappeared for some odd obscure reason.
Hmm.
And now the commentary is something completely different. It's like, guess that really didn't matter now, did it?
Hmm.
And getting back to what's actually going on and asking those questions that I've asked from day one of anybody that knows me. Are you okay?
Hmm.
Are you hungry? Do you need a shower? Do you need to grab some sleep? Do you need to do a load of laundry? Hey, if you're not okay, is there anything I can do to help? Do you want to jam? Do you want to play some music together? Opening up the dialogue and the communication of getting these questions out there. Because if you're not okay, you should probably do something about that.
Right. Oh, for sure.
And
Jeremy says different take than the other Joker versions. On its own, it's exceptional.
yeah, see, exactly. He gets it. Yeah, not that he's just my co host on This Is My Brain, because this is his brain.
Right.
But
Well,
no, seriously.
I like the gauntlet that he throws down with his show. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off,
No, go
but I
ahead.
do.
Yeah.
I like the gauntlet that he throws down on his show. Okay, because Jeremy has a lot of different opinions than say what I would have, or
Right.
for instance, what you might have. However, he still can have an intelligent conversation with us, like we can as well with him,
Right.
even though we have a different opinion on how things are, on different topics or whatever. And I absolutely respect that. And I wish more people would be like that when it comes to having conversations. Okay. I might not believe in exactly what he says, whether it's political, religious, whatever,
Right.
but we are still really much family. We're still close. We still talk about other things. So some things maybe we just won't talk about for certain subjects or whatever, but we still respect each other just like you and him do, and he does with
Right.
everybody else. And I think that's one of the lessons that we need to learn while all of this stuff is going down too.
Well, and we talked about that a little pre-show of the fact that obviously, yes, we co-host a podcast together. We do have a lot of things that we disagree on. And
Hmm.
the last time we were down there for what was it, the St. Patty's Day show, and Sunday when we were all getting ready to leave, and we were sitting there and just kind of throwing jabs at each other. It's like, oh yeah, that's like saying the Earth is flat.
Hmm.
And it's not because I'm intentionally taking a jab at my brother. I love my brother. I love my brother with all my heart. But knowing that we can do that with
Hmm.
each other and get a rise out of each other to challenge the other person's belief system, to go, he's challenging me because he loves me. He's not challenging me because I'm a dickhead.
Right.
And I think at the core of all of that is why when you look at the people that you surround yourself with, if they're challenging you because they love you. They're not challenging you to go, well, that's a fucking stupid belief. Why are you doing that? You're an idiot. Quit. And believe that the sky is purple with pink polka dots.
Right.
Wait, what? Okay, we're not going to Jonestown. I don't like Kool-Aid. Fuck off.
We're not, yeah, we're not drinking the Kool Aid here. However, with that being said, respectfully, I think it's okay to have your own opinion.
Absolutely.
What I don't think is okay is when people start purposely being dinks to each other, downplaying each other,
Right.
and acting like they are not smart enough just because they believe in something different. Maybe they were raised that way or whatever. But can we just, instead of like jumping on our keyboards right away and becoming this like keyboard ninja and start being dinks to one another? How about instead you give me a link to go and do my own research, or say, okay, well, I believe this because of this. Here's something to educate yourself so you can decide whether or not you believe it too. How about we do something like that instead of automatically just turning to being hateful?
Oh my God. So it's funny that you bring that up. My friend online on Facebook, I've never met this dude in person, but we've had some incredible conversations.
Hmm.
Uh, David Kirby Dean. Uh,
Oh
he,
yeah, I know him.
he comes across and he's a self-proclaimed douchebag asshole. But I think it's hilarious because he always is not afraid to challenge the establishment in not so much what he believes, but in the fact that he will debate with you for the sake of debating with you to show you how silly your argument is.
Hmm.
And I'm like, dude, I love that. I had a college professor that would challenge me and go, hey, look, if you're going to debate somebody, make sure you're taking the opposite side of it so you know what you're debating against. Because if not, and it results to name calling and defamation of character, you're not debating. You're having a grade school fist fight. Shut the
Eh,
hell up.
right, exactly. Right there, exactly. Like, we come to a point in our lives where we can sit there and act like that, or we can actually try to educate ourselves instead of trying to go, "Oh, you're wrong, I'm right." What gets done? What gets done when that happens?
Nothing. Absolutely
Exactly.
nothing.
Exactly. And I can't stand that when people do that, when they jump on their keyboard and they just start being total a-holes to each other. Because it's like, okay, if that person came to your house and actually talked to you face to face,
Right.
would you treat them this way? Would
No.
you?
See, that's the thing is when you put a hole in somebody or you punch somebody in the mouth, things de-escalate real fucking quickly. I mean,
I'm
what was it?
laughing because Jeremy just came in on the YouTube chat and he says the grass is green, the sky is blue, and the earth is flat. You undoctrined sheeple.
See, and I want to talk about that for a minute because I can never remember the context. But even in the New Testament, Paul, who wrote three-quarters of the New Testament, talked about we have lost the ability to reason with one another. And I don't remember
Hmm.
what passage of scripture that was. Help me out with that, Jeremy. But when you lose the ability to reason with one another and go, look, the common denominator is we're fucking human.
Hmm.
Start there. Okay.
Let's start there instead of trying to push off everything on each other and try to be like, oh, you're wrong, I'm right. My mommy said so.
So you wear skinny jeans and you wear guy liner. All right, cool.
Okay, that's your thing.
Who
Good
gives a
for you.
fuck? Right.
Step
I'm
out, do your thing. That's not my thing. I don't eyeliner, yes. Skinny jeans are not my thing. However, if that's what you're gonna wear and you feel confident in that, go you.
well, that's my point is when you have the ability to reason with one another, it changes your mindset to go, wow, I actually learned something. I don't
Hmm.
agree with it, but I learned something.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of those priorities need to be shifted back to, or at least shifted forward to, of that forward momentum of what are you learning?
Hmm.
What are you putting in here as opposed to some overzealous asshole who's pontificating intellectual meanderings of an overinflated opinion. Who gives a fuck? Opinions are
Yeah.
like assholes. Everybody has one, just some are bigger than others.
True. True. And with that asshole, some of your shit comes out way too big.
Yeah.
Always bother me. And as a human being, I will look at people and be like, oh, that doesn't look right. But you know what? That's my opinion. That doesn't
No.
mean that they have to
No.
go inside and change.
Don't
If
put that
it's
in your
something that
mouth.
they're happy and they're comfortable in, then cool. Do your thing. As long as you're not Porky Pig styling where it's inappropriate, then cool.
No, don't put that in your mouth. You don't know where that's been.
Right, exactly. You know, just like we all have different tastes and flavors of things or whatever. I make cheesecake. Not everybody likes it, but a lot of people do.
I've yet to meet a person who has sampled your cheesecakes and said, No, nobody likes parfaits.
All right, I'm gonna put this down. If somebody wants to fund me after this is all said and done to have my own little cheesecake restaurant, that would be freaking awesome.
Yep. Go fund Heather's cheesecake business. Hey,
Would love it.
I'd vote for president for you.
Oh, president of the cheesecake place.
President of the Cheesecake Nation.
Yeah, there we go. But there is, like I said, we have talked about like the good things that we're seeing and people are doing, through this time, and after everything gets back to, like I say, our norm or a normal after this, or what will be normal. Are we
Right?
gonna continue this stuff? Are we gonna continue to reach out and help each other? Are we gonna continue to do these things to help, raise money to help people, whatever it is? Like, are we gonna continue to band together?
Well,
I hope so. I hope the answer is yes.
I know we touched on it briefly at the beginning of the show when we were talking about the pre-show conversation we were having about. Do you
Mhm.
even remember what you were doing before all of this shit was going on? And if you do, how much has that changed? Because I guarantee, like you had said, you're not going to be the same person after this whole thing has ran its course. Now,
You
when you look at what you're doing right now to be a different person on the other side of this, what steps are you taking to do that? How are
Mhm.
you educating yourself? How are you doing the due diligence? How are you planning and having a plan for X, Y, and Z that goes down the line here forward? Are you doing that, or are you riding the oh my god, it's the gloom and doom bus?
Well, it's easy. It's easy to do that. It's easy to get that mindset when all of this is in your face 24/7. I mean, it is easy. A lot of us haven't gone through this kind of thing before. Actually, I think everybody has not really gone through something to this, measure. My aunt had passed away, so she's starting to finally like post these and put them up. There's a lot of things in there that are from like my childhood and bringing back memories and whatnot. But there was a picture that was posted of my great great grandmother, and back 100 plus years ago, when it came through this bad flu,
Yeah.
she actually was one of the ones that passed away from it. However, my great grandmother was like 5 years old at that time, and my great grandmother went on to beat cancer at the age of 92 and to live to be 103 years old,
Holy shit, that's
or
crazy.
101, I think. 101, sorry.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because you look at two different aspects of it. Her mother, who was in her 20s when
Yeah.
my great grandmother was 5 years old,
Mm-hmm.
she was lost when that happened. She
Yep.
she passed away from that. But my great grandmother went on to live to be 101, and it's crazy how you look at that, and here we are again,
Right.
100 years later. But I guess the thing I was thinking is seeing that gave me hope as well. Yeah, it sucks that my great 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 grandmother or whatever had great grandmother passed away.
Right.
Great great grandmother, yeah. But to have the other aspect of it where my great grandmother lived to be 101
Right.
and has seen things like she was from Boston. She never really went back after she had gone from there. And being 101 years old, so many things had changed for her, and people, she lost so many different people being that old. It's crazy to look at that and to go, well, she went through traumas with losing her husband and stuff, and she didn't drive before her husband had passed away. But after he passed away, she went and she got her a license and she took care of everything that she could take care of. And
Yeah.
so I guess where I'm going with that is the traumas that we're all facing right now, because this is trauma.
Well,
I feel.
it's great that you mentioned that of looking at it from a multiple perspective. I mean, I think of some of the most coolest times recently of us having incredible conversations over dinner down at the man cave.
Hmm.
And you talked about your great great grandma. I think of my aunt that lived to be 106,
Mm.
and she would invite me over for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because you couldn't leave her house without eating something. So at least
Right.
then she knew that you got it one good meal out of the day.
Hmm.
And it was always an all day venture. There was no, you weren't leaving. You were sitting there listening to her stories. And I remember hearing her talk about the first time she saw the television at the
Oh, wow.
World's Fair talking about, you know, the first time she saw an automobile that wasn't a horse and buggy,
Hmm.
you know, watching the moon landing on a black and white television, you know, seeing the president shot. All of these things that are in our history books, she got to experience firsthand.
Right.
All the way up to, you know, when did she die? I think it was in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, I think it was. Uh, on computers, how her pocket calculator had more computing power than the what was it the Apollo 13
Yeah.
had.
Crazy.
And she's just like, I we live in such cool times. Yes, there's all kinds of diseases and bacterias and viruses and cancers and this, that, and the other thing. But she's like, look, I came from a time and saw myself from horse and buggy to now we're flying around in space vehicles
Hmm.
and communicating with each other in real time from the other side of the world.
Yeah.
When, I mean, she caught literally the tail end of Morse code and having the, oh, what the hell do you call those damn things? The
The
fuck.
operating, well, the operators and stuff,
Well,
or
yeah, the tappy line thingies for
yep.
phone. Oh God, I can't even remember. Wells Fargo or some shit like that.
Right.
What the fuck is
Right.
it called?
I couldn't tell you. If somebody knows, please put it up in
Yeah,
the chat because
yeah. See,
I couldn't tell you. But I know what you're talking about. And I'm
back
sure
in my day.
everybody listening understands where you're going with it. But yeah,
Yeah,
the advancements that have been made in healthcare, in technology, in everything to where we're at now, like hearing stories from my grandma, my great grandma, like
yeah,
it blew her mind. Even listening to some of the stuff with my dad. My dad's not very old, but listening to him talk about the stuff, and the difference from then and now, and even now thinking about the changes from when we were kids.
well,
You know,
it was funny with my aunt because she couldn't understand modern day rock and roll, like 80s and forward, but
yeah,
she loved her some Elvis because
oh
that
yeah.
man knew how to move his hips. Whew. And I'm going, Aunt Louise, really?
Jeff says telegraph to internet.
Thank you. Telegraph. Holy shit balls, man. Yeah, telegraph to internet. And it's funny because if you think about that stuff right now, like just in our modern day history, you
Hmm.
look at what we've accomplished. We've not gone through world wars, but we've had wars that have affected the world. You
Yeah.
know, we've had a black president. Where in history is that in the history books?
Right.
You know,
Right.
we are actually at a surplus now when you look at the true economy because the president that we had or the president that we have, sorry, is a dude that was not only on television, but now he's also running this country like a business. I don't
Right.
agree with all of the stuff that he's done, but he's our president. And as a Christian, I support him and I pray for him.
Right. Right.
And that's the thing is when you look at that, what other person in our modern history has done those exact same things? Ronald
Right.
Reagan, you know, he was an actor on television and told the Russians, "Hey, tear down the wall. I fucking dare you."
Yeah.
I mean, you look at
We've
this stuff
seen.
through the course of modern history. This shit's happening in our time.
Yeah. We've seen so many different things that have changed and evolved us, and maybe some stuff that has set us back. I'm sure. I mean, before we even started this show, one of the big things was is that we don't really talk much about political things on here because I learned back when I was doing learning how to do hair and stuff for the salon. The biggest thing that they had mentioned was don't talk politics and don't talk religion because there's so many different opinions, different beliefs, and different things like that. So we try to tend to not get into it too much. But if you look at the history of everything and where we're at now, with not just our technology, intelligence, and all that, I mean, that is part of it. That's part of our history, is where we're at with that. And I'm with you there. I don't agree with everything that he does. I don't agree with a lot of the things. Obviously, I think differently from you. However, that being said, that's where we go back to, me and you being friends. And just because we don't agree with a lot of the things doesn't mean that
Right.
you and I don't have intelligent conversations to try to help each other understand where we're coming from when it comes to those things. And I think, more people have to understand that instead of just going out with guns ablazing, let's help to get people to arm themselves with knowledge instead of trying to make them feel like they're this big. That doesn't accomplish anything.
Well, and I
I
think that
don't feel like it accomplishes anything. That's my stand on it.
that's the key is right now in today's history,
Hmm.
where you're looking at a time where you have the biggest library at the tip of your fingers,
Hmm.
and you can look up anything that you want to educate yourself, to start a new hobby, to start a new career, to revamp your resume, to start a podcast, to doing something, and the likelihood of you having success at that, because there's so many different how-to videos of doing these things
Right.
uh, all over the internet. Good lord, the amount of information that is pushed around. I mean, I was watching an interview with Rob. Why would you put that on the internet? Love that
Yeah.
guy. And he was watching an interview um, with the YouTube CEO or whatever it was, and she threw out a statistics about every minute on YouTube there is 500 hours being uploaded.
Wow.
Think
That's
about that for
crazy.
a minute. Every minute, 500 hours of stuff being uploaded to YouTube.
It's incredible. It's incredible that we have that much information and knowledge at our fingertips. I feel sometimes that some of that stuff gets lost in the archives or whatever. We have a lot of questions as human beings, and there's a lot of things that we aren't getting the information on, especially right now with things going on. And that's not me going, oh, this is conspiracy theory, because I don't talk about that, and I'm not going to talk about that on the show because that's just not something I want to go into.
Right.
But I do feel like we do need to do a lot more research to find out everything that's going on to arm ourselves with information. I think is very important. Jeff says in chat, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House on the Prairie, lived to fly coast to cast on the airplane, coast to coast on an airplane.
Right.
And when you talk about us being able to have all this information at our fingertips to be able to get on Google or whatever we use to do our search engine or whatever, when you look at that, think about when we were in school. Our big information source was going to the library and looking in the card catalogs and getting the books out and doing all that kind of research. And it's funny I say that because I'm reading the what am I reading? A Walk to Remember
Good book.
by Nicholas Sparks right now.
Very
And
good
it's
book.
funny because he talks about, them doing their book reports and going into the card catalogs and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh man, I hated that. I absolutely could not stand it. But I think it's important that hopefully, our kids are getting taught that.
See, and that for me, it was a little different because we had microfiche and we had encyclopedias, to
Hmm.
where we had to take the information that we found, cite our sources, and if we needed to print stuff off on the microfiche, which was really different, because you're literally scrolling through all of this stuff. Like I did a paper on the Hindenburg,
Yeah.
and you've got all these live accounts of people at that point in time, which was not that old. I mean, you're talking what, 50, 60, 70 years
Hmm.
prior to that, when I was in school, and going, holy shit, this literally happened yesterday. And now, here we are, middle age, and going, fuck, look at all this stuff that's happened in our lifetime.
Hmm.
Be plugged in, be in the now, like you said, arm yourself with the wisdom, the knowledge, and the difference to know when to engage and when not to engage. Because if you're going to sit there and be a dog chasing your tail, then you're going to look like an idiot.
Well, and that whole saying about is this going to be important to me? 5 months from now, or
Probably
5 years from now, 5 months from now,
not.
5 weeks from now, 5 minutes, 5 hours, whatever. Like, I feel like we get kind of caught up in a lot of that stuff sometimes where we don't stop and ask ourselves before we get into this fight, into this battle, is it really worth putting our mental health, our stress levels, our bodies, is it worth putting them in this kind of danger to argue with somebody over something that you just don't believe in? You
And I mean,
know?
that's going back to Jeremy and giving him a shout out. I love you, brother. Uh, it's great because we debate back and forth about flat Earth. And it's hilarious because both of us, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether the Earth's flat or round. It's the fact that we're doing this to engage other people in a conversation
Right.
to suspend any of these stigmas that come along with it and go, hey, who gives a shit what the topic of conversation is about? Have a legitimate conversation with someone.
Hmm.
Be passionate, be zealous, but remember that is your brother, that is your sister. Don't be an asshole to them because eventually you're going to have to, make amends and you're going to look like an even bigger dickhead if you don't.
And I like and respect the fact that, with friends and the family that I do have conversations with about, well, hey, I'm not really feeling this particular topic. I have a lot of things in my head that I feel about this topic, and they let me go on and talk about where my feelings are at with things, and they understand that, and they're like, okay, well, I get that. Like, I understand, and to have an intellectual conversation about that and be able to have your feelings brought into the conversation, like, I appreciate that more than some people would know. I've experienced a lot in my life with people going at me about being emotional about stuff, and yes, I am. I'm a very emotional person. I feel a lot of things, and it can come off as me looking like I'm sensitive about stuff. Maybe I am sensitive about it because I can feel the different things of it. However, those of you that are in my life, that have been in my life, that I can talk to about things, go, okay, yep, she is sensitive, but I respect that about her because she's different in that aspect. And I appreciate that. And going through the different things that I've gone through, and I talk about that stuff, like I mentioned, this is part of a trauma situation that everybody's going through. I feel that it really is because we're surviving from this kind of thing, and we are all in this together. And trauma brings a lot. It will bring a lot of changes to you. It will bring a lot of changes. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on saying that, or what are your feelings on that?
Well, and I mean, to go back to what we were doing even before the pre-show, in talking about some of the stuff that we were doing, going through my bug out bag, my
Hmm.
everyday carry, my butt pack, my bedroll, and showing you, hey, all right, it's not, and this is not conspiracy. This
Hmm.
is this is modern history as we speak. It's not if it's going to happen; it's when it's going to happen, and putting your mental and emotional process at ease because you've planned and prepared
Hmm.
and putting a list of stuff together to go, okay, at a moment's notice, I can grab and go.
Right.
And, you and I were talking about that. I was going through what I had in my bug out bag, the specifics of various different things, and having backups for this and, what I've got in my everyday carry bag of, yeah, go ahead, look at it, make notes of it, do the things that you want to do, and then sharing that information. I've
Hmm.
been talking for years with Leon about doing a survival class of just, you know, putting a plan together to go, okay, look, I'm not over prepared and I'm not overzealous with, being Y2K,
Right. Right.
but I have a plan of action together, which is what you're supposed to do as an adult, as a functional adult, to
Right.
go, if this happens, okay, cool, I'm prepared for it. If this happens,
Well,
okay, I'm prepared for it. If this doesn't happen, okay, I'm prepared for it.
and let's stop for a minute and talk about that, the planning thing. Okay, when we're growing up and when we were kids, was it unusual for your parents to have things set in place? Okay, what is the fire drill if something, even at the school, but at home, what was the drill? What did you guys have planned? What was your escape route? What was it that you had prepared in case you guys had to leave or whatever, if something like that, heaven forbid, happened? That was preparing us, it was planning.
Right.
Situations with the Mr. Yuck stickers, we had those on the cabinets in case something happened. What was in the cupboard that would have possibly made you sick? What did you get into? That was another plan that was in place. What was the number that you would call? What was the numbers that we had set up on the wall by our telephones that were, yes, on the wall, plugged in, not with us? What were the phone numbers in case of emergency? Our parents had those all put up.
So
So
you're not supposed to
that's
drink.
planning.
So you're not supposed to drink bleach and Clorox.
Ha. Especially not now because there's people buying it all up. Anyhow,
Yeah.
place. My mom was notorious for if somebody comes up to you and tries to get you to come into their car or take you home, say they're driving you home or whatever, what is the password? What is
Uber or Lyft. That's the password.
but you know what I mean? Like those were things that a lot of our parents had set in place. So,
Yeah.
I've heard of this like bug out bag and planning in case you do have to go somewhere or whatever time
Yeah.
or whatever. There's some people out there that will not talk about having a bug out bag or being prepared because they're afraid that people are going to judge them and start saying, "Oh my God, they're a doomsday prepper," or "They're this," or "They're that," or "There's." But honestly, they're if you stop and you think about it, being prepared and having a plan in place is a good thing.
And that's what it's about. I mean, we talk about Leon all the time. Shout out to Leon. He's got some really cool stuff that's coming up in the very near future.
Very cool.
He taught the class, and he taught the class from a zombie apocalypse perspective. Because if you planned for a zombie apocalypse, then you've covered all of the natural disasters. You've covered infrastructure failure. You've covered all of these things that is preparing you to be self-sustaining, self-sufficient, and self-regulated and self-governed.
Right.
Huh. That's really interesting because I think that's what this country was supposed to be doing
Right.
from we the people. And that's my point is I'm not going to get political on this, but it's the fact that if you plan and you become self-sufficient and self-sustaining, your bags are packed and you're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And having that mentality of, okay, I need to think 1 step ahead, 2 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead, 20 steps ahead,
Yep.
5 years ahead, and go, okay, what's my plan so I can sleep at night instead of stressing, well, what happens if a tornado goes off right now? Shit,
Right.
I don't have anything in place. And I mean, that's what I had to laugh because the first question I asked him when we started talking on the phone, hey, brother, how you doing? I'm doing great. I've been,
Right.
prepper for all of these years and watching people, buy shit out of everywhere. And he's going, this is nothing. He's like, how long have you been doing this? I've been doing this for 10 years. We've been doing this for 5 collectively. And I'm going, I'm loving this, man.
Well, yeah, and that, like I said, people worry about having those kind of plans in place because other people will automatically, some people will judge people about that. But it's smart to have some kind of a plan of action. Just like I said, when we were kids, all of that stuff our parents had planned for us to be, protected. Were they wrong for that? Did half of those things happen? Not necessarily, but the ones that had stuff in place, yeah, they
I
were
thought
prepared.
quicksand was going to be a bit bigger of a deal. Just saying, growing up.
Yeah, that happened where we had a pond that we were told had quicksand in it and not to go over by it, and we never did because lo and behold, if you didn't have a damn branch, you were screwed.
Well, and that's the thing is you look at a lot of these old catchphrases and clever wittyisms or whatever you want to call them. You plan to fail, you fail to plan. Or
Mhm.
you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And it's, come on, guys. You're in the peak time right now with information and technology at the tip of your fingers.
Yeah.
Shop and compare, do the due diligence, educate yourself, because there is no excuse why you should not know how to take care of yourself without having someone else going, well, I can help you out. No, it's not how it works. You
Right.
come together, you work together, and you help support each other because you are an individual who is self governing, self regulating, self sustaining, not
Yep.
because you're trying to be a burden on someone else. And,
Well,
you have a responsibility to that, to educate your fellow man and woman to go, this is what I'm doing. What are you doing?
and I think it's interesting because that opens up a whole nother, aspect and a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Plus, it also brings to the table, things that you wouldn't think of. Like you guys went through your bug out bags with me and Adam today, and it was really interesting to
Yeah.
see what you had. And for Adam, he's like, well, I would definitely have, like the fishing kit and different things. Like you had said, you want to have stuff that is available to you that you know how to use, which is
Absolutely.
smart. It's smart. Plan smartly. Make sure that, like you said, do the reviews, find the stuff that will work, find your middle ground, find your stuff that would be very advantageous to get like the best of, or whatever. And it
Yeah.
and it comes down to that just for everything. Like what are right now with the situation that we're going through? What is your plan? Where are you placed right now? Have you guys thought about that? I mean, for Adam and I, it means trying to get a pickup order in and not going into the store. It means, all these different things. It means us going out for a run if we can away from people. It
Right.
means, it means something different for every person. Some people are completely just staying indoors and that's what it is. And okay, that's what you're doing to protect yourself and your family. Then that's good. That is what we need to do is be doing what we can for ourselves. I'm not saying ignore whatever is in place or whatever. I'm just saying, please do what you need to do to plan for yourselves to keep safe and whatever. And that goes with having a bug out bag or whatever put in place. And, this really makes me and Adam think even more about doing the whole farm thing. We've had to plan on doing that, growing our vegetables, having chickens for eggs, and all of that kind of stuff. Now it even puts it even more into, yeah, we're definitely doing that.
Well, and that's my perspective on it. And that's the thing is I constantly surround myself with people that are way smarter than me because, you don't go to your local mechanic to get a haircut, right?
Nope.
No, you go to a stylist, you go to a salon, you go to a hair specialist, you go
Mm-hmm.
to a person that does cosmetology. Okay, all of
Yep.
these things are in there. So if you want to have a plan, you go to someone that is planning. I mean, I
Right.
was a huge fan of Nehemiah in the Old Testament because this dude literally built the walls of Jerusalem back up in such a minimal amount of time when people for the past 400 years prior to him could not get one wall built.
Right.
And it's like those are the kind of people I want to surround myself. How do you want to learn how to make $1 million? Cool. Go find a millionaire and sit down and go, I'm paying for your lunch. You're on my dime. Teach me how to make $1 million. You want
I
to
mean,
learn how,
really,
right,
that whole shadowing. We learned that in school.
right.
Job shadow for the job you want. Get a mentor for what you want to learn. Really just do your due diligence. Get some education on these things. I have something on YouTube chat.
Go ahead.
Jeff says you don't want to be where the stupid people are when everything goes to heck in a handbasket. You want to have some distance.
Well, and
I
that's the
mean,
thing.
there's your plan. There's his plan.
Right. You're going through and you're planning for not just your survival, for your thrival.
There you go.
And when it comes down to that, what are those things that is keeping your morale up daily? What are those
Hmm.
things that are, oh, well, now we don't have to focus on just surviving of how we're going to get water, food, shelter, all of that. And I can never remember the pyramid of what that is. But there's some dude that's way smarter than me that put a uh, needs pyramid together. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that you're not focusing on those things, so now you can start to plan future and long term
Right.
because you're not focused on surviving. You're focused on, okay, we've got enough food for the week. What can we do for the next week? Oh,
Hmm.
cool, we got enough food for the month. Now What can we
Well,
do?
and then in this kind of time, where they are now starting to make it to where there's less people in the store at a time, which yes, probably a good idea.
Right.
But plan for that. Plan for going in to get the supplies that you're going to need for 2 weeks out.
Right.
If you can. There's a lot of people that can't do this right now. But if you can do it, that's the best way to plan is to be able to get enough stuff so you're not being surrounded by people constantly. Yeah, it's really just being smart about the situation. Yeah, not pleasant. Not everybody's excited about this, but doing what's best to keep yourself and your family safe is what everybody should be practicing right now.
Well, and that's the thing is, it takes a community, it takes a village. My grandmother used to tell me all the time, it takes a village to raise children. And
Yeah.
when you're an island and when you're an isolationist doing that yourself, being a single father, you
Hmm.
still have to find creative ways to build a community and a village around your children to go, they're going to get stuff from these people that I can't give them because I'm dad
Right.
or I'm mom or whatever the parenting situation is. And the same thing with us as adults. You have to go to these people to learn these different things to go, it takes a village to make
Yep.
you a successful, educated, well thought out adult.
Absolutely. And I think, right there is probably a good spot to kind of end because we're at that time and I'm about ready to lose my battery life on my phone. I am dangerously low on my battery. So I just, with that being said, that is a good thing that you brought up, and that's another reason why I really, really am liking that page, the Virus Spirit 2020, especially if you have children. It's a good place to go and have there's activities for your kids at this time to be able to go on there and listen to bedtime stories throughout the day, challenges, coloring challenges, different things. It's good to find these different things that the kids can do while they're at home and stuff that's educational as well. And and for us as well, there's a lot of things out there that we can be learning and strengthening our minds and
Yep.
and whatever it is that you do, your talent, sharpening things that you used to really love to do, but kind of got away from you because you've been living in the fast pace of the way that the world has become.
Well,
You know,
yeah,
just with all of that being said, and I also want to give a huge shout out to solidstateradio.net. They re-air us on there. We love them over there. We're thankful that they are still going. Armchair Athletes is still going, even though there's not any sports that are happening currently, but they do have a really cool show. So if you guys can check that out, and all the other shows that are on there, there's definitely something for everybody there. Shout out to This Is My Brain. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining in. There's all kinds of different ones. What you got, Tony, before we end?
just you hit the point, you hit the nail right on the head. Sharpen and mold your mental and emotional resiliency, your tenacity to move forward, because that's what it's going to take.
Hmm.
This is where the wheat is separated from the chaff of, in these instances, it's literally survival of the fittest, and that's not necessarily physical. I want to see what's on the other side of this because I'm going
Yep,
to contribute to something positive.
you have to definitely be mentally strong for something like this right now. And that's why I say reach out to people if you need to. If you're feeling, the fear or whatever it is that's getting you mentally, it's attacking you mentally, get a hold of somebody who can help you, whether that means getting a hold of one of us so that we can help direct you, get these numbers out to you, or getting a hold of those people that the numbers that I stated earlier to help you get through this at this time. I mean, it's really just trying to find what you can do to keep your mind sharp, keep yourself going, and try to steer away from the fear and whatever else is happening with it being in our faces 24/7. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Absolutely. And on that note, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you
Hmm.
get all of our posts because we've been doing some really cool stuff not on podcast day.
Yeah.
Check out Survivor Girl, airs every Sunday live at 6
Yep.
p.m.
6 every Sunday,
And
almost every
then,
Sunday.
my brother from another mother over there at the Man Cave,
Hmm.
airing This Is My Brain stuff sporadically. Good stuff. Go check it out. It's on HFTC TV.
Ooh, the archived episodes of Mitch's Fake Radio. Those are funny. We
Oh,
all need
God,
some
yes.
laugh therapy right now.
An hour you will never get back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, check it out. Our social media is in the description. Hit that like button. Show us you love us by supporting us and smashing that like button in the mouth. And on that, anything else to add, Heather?
Check out the Unknown Artists and Racer X over on Twitch. They're some of our friends over there. We love them. Go check them out. Show them support, subscribe, do whatever you can to boost. And don't forget to check out some of these musicians that are out that we've had on our show here before. You can actually watch them live on Facebook, and they have really cool links that you can click on to give them tips and support at this time, to give them, whether it's $1 or whatever you can afford to throw in there. That's really helping to support them as well. So you guys can support your local music, even if it's just on Facebook. Their shows are really they're giving their heart and soul right now. So if you can drop them a couple bucks or whatever here and there, that'd be very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see you guys next week, maybe sooner. Who knows? We got some cool stuff planning. And yeah, don't make it weird, fuckers.
Or keep it weird. We'll see you guys later.